Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards. Off having a baby right now is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. I would tell Zeke to say hello to the folks, but he's off, so I actually have a good friend of mine filling in tonight, Michael St. Pierre. Just say hi to the folks.
Hello, folks. Glad to be here.
Ricky Bobby, I told you, you don't have to lean in.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. The mic's going to get you.
All right. Okay. Got it.
No, you're very good. Do you want to do it again?
Nope.
Okay. So, welcome. A lot of people might not know this. You and I are a part of a whiskey group together. We're part of a bourbon group. You are displaced from the hurricane right now and having to spend time living in Zeke's Airbnb for a week.
Yeah, it's been so terrible. Had to evacuate Charleston for the hurricane, which apparently never even hit Charleston. So I've kind of been displaced, but really enjoying myself out here in Nashville. Oh man, this is gives Charleston a good run for its money. That's for sure.
So it's kind of funny because that hurricane, it came around, it almost swooped down, but then went back up. Like, I feel bad for North Carolina.
The thing was larger than life. I don't even understand how it completely missed Charleston. I really don't understand. It was like a direct hit, and then, you know, we all were mandatory evacuation. We leave, and it turns away. So, I mean, I'm pretty happy that it did turn away, but also it's kind of weird being mandatory evacuation for a sprinkle.
Well, you know, we hope the people that it did hit, we hope everybody's safe. We hope everybody's doing well.
Definitely.
We are very happy to have you here. We're also very, very happy to have Robert Longhurst with us here tonight. This is a long time coming. Robert is the inventor, founder, and part owner of Red Eye Rye. And we've been talking about doing something together for months, so it's great to finally have you in the studio.
Yeah, glad to be here for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so this is great. It's new faces. I'm not seeing Zeke all the time, but Zeke is off with his beautiful baby daughter, and I just want to make sure to give him another huge congrats. It's always weird not having him here, but it's given me some time to spend a good night with new people, old friends, new people, and trying something that, man, he is totally missing out on these cocktails that you've made tonight. Yeah. We're going to go through this, but Robert's made us an old-fashioned. You've made us an old-fashioned with tonic, and then we're having this Red Eye straight. And, man, we're sipping on these cocktails while we're doing the podcast, but damn, the cocktails are amazing.
It's ridiculous.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
So what he did here, we're going to talk a little bit about this rye. It is a coffee-infused rye. It's 80 proof, 80% ABV, 95% rye, 5% barley. It's aged for about 12 to 14 months over at OZ Tyler. They are not, I don't want to steal your thunder.
All good.
We want to hear about...
It's 40%, 80 proof. Yeah, all real ingredients. Brand new local product. We just launched about 9 months ago out of Nashville. So, yeah, excited to be here and talk about it. Let you guys try it for sure.
And you're using the juice over at OZ Tyler.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's OZ Tyler whiskey. It's their rye whiskey. We said 95% rye, 5% barley. It's all blended together because it's coffee-infused rye, right?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, simply put, that's what it is. The high rye content kind of allows the nuances to come through. Once we blend everything together, it's not just like a bitter black coffee and rye whiskey. It's nuanced. There's some chocolate notes, hazelnut, that kind of thing, but it is still 80 proof. It's not a liqueur by any means. It's a foolproof whiskey. Using all real ingredients. There's no kind of caramel color or anything like that. It's all real stuff, meant to be enjoyed by itself or mixed in cocktails. So
no, it's very dark. I mean, if you look at this on its own, it almost looks like coffee, right?
Definitely, yeah. You can just fill the mug up to the top for sure.
It's got a beautiful red hue to it.
Yeah.
Not anybody, if you're looking at this for the first time, you're not going to think it's a rye whiskey. I mean, it's definitely looks like something that's an after dinner port. It looks like something that you would sip and enjoy after a nice meal at one of the places that Michael has been living it up in Nashville.
I'm so full.
Good.
Yeah. How many? Where'd you go, by the way? Not to make this about you, but I mean, you are a guest.
Yeah,
too.
let's not make this.
Yeah, I want to hear about it though.
Oh, where have I eaten? I mean, think everywhere.
Both of us are Nashville natives.
Yeah, we got to hear about
Arnold's,
the experiences.
Martin's. Oh God, Folk. Rolf and Daughters.
Rolf, but
Ralph and Daughters, whatever.
Ralph, no, Rolf, like you know the
it's ROLF, right?
Rolf.
Yeah, you know
Rolf.
the
okay, Rolf.
You know the Muppet. Rolf?
Yeah.
Rolf and Daughters.
Okay, well, I don't watch the Muppets too often. I'm sure you watch it a lot more than I do.
I watch the Muppets. I watch Dora the Explorer. That's how I pregame.
Cars.
Frozen.
Cars is fantastic.
Ka-chow.
Yeah.
We did the whiskey 40. Me and you went there.
We went to Bourbon
404.
Steak. 404 Kitchen.
Oh, yeah, we went to Bourbon Steak. I went to Emmy Squared last night with Zeke.
I haven't been to Bourbon Steak yet. I heard that place is top
yeah,
notch.
Bring your wallet and maybe take out a second mortgage too while you're at it. Jesus.
I mean, I figured out how to do it. If you so Michael orders about 5 appetizers.
Right.
I had it figured out where I thought I was gonna spend about $100, right? If you get steak and a side and a nice drink or two, you can do $100 a person.
A person? That's not too bad. I mean, I guess that's par for a nice night out.
A good steak there, the ribeye is probably going to be in the 40s.
Right.
I think it was higher than that.
I mean, 40s for a ribeye.
Bone-in ribeye, I think, was
good.
like 70 or 80.
No, but a regular ribeye.
Oh, yeah, regular.
Regular ribeye is 40.
It's not bad.
I think the filet is in the 40s. And
if it's a good ribeye, it's not bad at all.
But the best eating thing I did was I did a hot chicken showdown. I got 7 different hot chickens and lined them all up here in the kitchen. I got Prince's.
How did that
400?
end?
Oh God, I'm still hurting.
The beginning was fantastic.
Prince's 400 pepper fire slow burn, Hattie B's, and then what was the other one? A couple other ones. Bolton's, and then Helen's. So I got all those, and oh my God, yeah, I'm still hurting.
You're still hurting?
Yeah.
Everybody's leaving. So
what was the heat level though on all?
I did medium. I did medium all the way through because anything I've done. Well, actually, I've never done anything hotter than medium, but
right.
I wouldn't be able to handle it. I can barely handle medium.
Yeah, you got to put the toilet paper in the freezer.
Well, I always say the pro tip is if you go medium, you never know who is working. So depending on who's working, they're either going to make it really, really hot.
Oh yeah,
or it's going to be really.
It was
really
definitely.
It
was definitely not
mix
consistent. It was definitely not consistent across the board. Like some were like fire hot, and then some were like not hot at all.
And that's the thing is people. I always tell people when they come to town, they go, "What level should I order it?" And I say always medium because it could be super, super, super hot.
Consistent, yeah.
Yeah. It's
But Prince's wins. Prince's is king. It really is, man. I hate to fall into the hype, but it really is the best. Personally, in my opinion.
Well, let's get back to these drinks. So, what actually made you start Red Eye Rye? Because you said you were a bartender.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing before this.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your story and how you all got started.
Yeah, so I was bartending in town for 10 plus years, and as lots of bartenders do, they make their own infusions, make their own thing that they keep in an unmarked bottle behind the bar. And I was infusing different stuff into whiskey, coffee, black walnut, vanilla, chicory root, honey, that kind of thing. And I was coming up with different stuff and giving it to guests after dinner, giving it to my buddies that came in. Fellow bartenders as like sort of a bartender's handshake type thing. Kind of trying to make my own version of an Amaro. That was like the beginning stages of Red Eye Rye, as it turns out.
So for a lot of people that just drink whiskey on here, what typically is in an Amaro?
It's usually a grape or grain-based spirit with different herbs, roots, spices infused into it, and it's definitely native to Italy. It's an Italian thing, Fernet, Cynar, that type of stuff.
It sounds like an Italian Mamawana.
I have no idea what that is.
You've never... Dominican
Mamawana?
Republic has...
Yeah, that
it's
sounds
actually,
great.
So it's called the baby-making drink. And it is rum infused with all these spices from the Dominican.
That sounds delicious.
It goes,
That's perfect.
You and I will have to get... I have a bottle.
I want to try it. Yeah.
And we'll have to... Next time we get together, I'll bring the Mamawana.
That sounds like my kind of thing, man.
You have to watch out because stuff happens after that. And then
I don't want to be hanging out with you guys. You know?
No.
If it's baby making, we got to part ways, you know?
Mamawana directly contributed to my daughter. So it's... she was a honeymoon baby in the Dominican Republic. So.
All right. Well, I definitely don't need any of that then.
Yeah.
Word sent you home with a bottle.
No.
Back to Charleston with some baby making liquid.
Yeah, please. I do not need that. I really don't.
Ladies, he's single.
Yeah. So you're not a father?
I'm not. Yeah. Just to a four-legged fur baby.
Yeah, the Ducati. Yep. Little Duke.
He does have a really, really cool dog. I don't want to make this all about...
Where is the dog?
He's sleeping.
Oh, he'll cruise around here in a little bit.
Kind of miss the dog.
So we do have a mascot. I mean, we have a mascot tonight. We have a little Italian greyhound for an Italian-inspired rye drink, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So you were making it. It was more your bartender's handshake.
Sure.
So how did people know? Like, so people just had to know to go to you.
Yeah, I mean, it was always like a super experimental type thing, and I was making it behind the bar, and I'd let different people try it, and my buddies that came in, and I'd always give them different versions of it, and they'd give me feedback, and it was one of those things where once I came up with the name for it, Red Eye Rye, like my buddies, we all looked at each other and we're like, this has got to be on the back bar, it's a good idea, it's a good name. I feel like it caught. And I was actually doing some consulting for a mixer brand, Barsmith. I was developing some of their flavors and doing some stuff with them, and ended up partnering with them to launch the spirit. So it was like, once we named it, we just kind of looked at each other and we're like, we got to make this a thing. So,
well, I just have to say it's really, really good. Let's talk about it here for a second. The nose for me was just thick chocolate. It was rich like a molten lava chocolate cake. Slight pepper and spice on there on the nose too. But I mean, you look at this. We never really mention. We never really mention this too much on the color. I mean, this looks like coffee. Doesn't really look like whiskey, but it's not supposed to because it's infused with coffee and coffee beans. You talk a little bit about the filtering process, right? Mm-hmm. Because if we're describing this as well, there are no coffee grounds in here at all. It's very it's all liquid. What goes into that?
Basically, it was a long and drawn out process of trying to make the product as clear as possible. Not like from a color standpoint necessarily, but just, when you pick up the bottle, we didn't want people to see a bunch of muck in the bottom of it. And because we are using real ingredients, that was kind of hard to achieve. So it took us a long time to, figure out the way to filter all that stuff out. Coffee's a super thick thing, and when you infuse real coffee with stuff, it wants to have sediment. So between that, finding the right rye whiskey and making the flavor happen in a way that, made us all happy, it was almost a 4-year process. So,
because I find that funny too, even, if I'm at home doing a drip, opposed to, putting a K cup in or putting it, putting it in an actual filter, when you do that drip coffee, I mean, grinding the beans to the right size is very very key to making a good drip coffee.
Definitely. Yeah.
So a lot of trial and error. Were you involved in that, or did you let other people do that kind of stuff for you?
A little bit of both. We were heavily involved in the process, but we had lots of experts to help us out along the way for sure. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Are you a big coffee fan, Michael?
I love coffee. That's another thing I did here in Nashville. Hit a lot of coffee, but
We do have good coffee.
I will. I do want to like talk about the color though. It's just such a beautiful, like rich, dark. Like it looks like a really, really, really heavily sherried single malt Scotch. Mm-hmm. Maybe even a touch darker. But you can, if you put it up to the light, it's got that beautiful red, like hue to it, and it's just it's awesome.
So what do you get on the nose? I said what I got on the nose. Lots of chocolate.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It like you said, it's weird how you can kind of say something smells thick, but it does. It smells like
rich,
thick.
sure.
Yeah, it's rich. It's creamy smelling. As weird as that sounds, but it really is. And you were saying like island guava earlier, but I get more like darker, like.
That's more on the taste, right? And that's a good place to go to, because when I taste it, you get slight spice on the beginning, at least for me. I felt that little tingle, let me kind of know it's a rye. And then it brings notes of passion fruit and cherries and guava and a lot of tropical fruit more on, and it's not citrusy, but it's
I think that's the rye whiskey kind of. Rye whiskey is young; it's 12 to 14 months old, so
and it is a younger rye. Young. It doesn't taste. You can't taste the youngness in it. It's.
Right.
I mean, you can taste it in a benefit, like it benefits it, but it doesn't. Sometimes young whiskeys they taste a little too green.
Sure, definitely.
That you're not getting that here at all.
Yeah, I think it plays to its advantage a little bit and brings out some nuanced flavors in the coffee, and like you're saying, it's nuanced with a little bit of even tropical fruit. If you pull that out, that's great.
I think that's the benefit of being an infused spirit as well, because it can kind of numb the youth of the whiskey.
Definitely, yeah.
Without making it feel like it's being muted somehow. And but definitely beginning of the palate was more spicy, but nothing that was even like when you have a rye and you really know like your lips tingle. It wasn't like that. It was the slightest hit of pepper and spice and lets you know it's there. Then it really moves to just coating. It's almost like the coffee coats your palate, and then you're left with that fruit. And then the finish for me, I think it's probably good for us to just talk about the taste and finish together, but the finish, that dark chocolate fruit lingers, but it licks your lips. I get no spice on the finish for me. It's very just... It's that.
You know what I get? It's like very maple syrupy at the end. It just sits there too. Like I think I took a sip over a minute ago. I can still taste it. It's just there.
Yeah,
it doesn't disappear.
It's there, and it kind of makes you go like.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's enjoyable. Definitely.
And it's 80 proof, so I feel like, that being said, you don't necessarily feel, when you're sipping it by itself, you don't necessarily feel like you're sipping a 80 proof product.
Have you played around with like different proof points? And
a little bit, yeah, especially when we were developing it. That was one of the things, should we proof it down? Lots of the stuff, especially, the other flavored stuff, we're more of an infusion, but the other flavored stuff that's on the market is lower proof, 35%. A lot of it's not necessarily even all whiskey. So when we were developing the product, it was one of those things, do we want to lower the proof? Do we want to make it kind of along the lines of the other stuff? And it was, that's where I kind of put my foot down. I was like, no, it's got to be at least an 80 proof product. And in order to be used in a variety of different ways, I feel like it needs to be an 80 proof product to stand up to other stuff and to be able to be mixed in different cocktails, old fashions, Manhattans.
I was thinking like have you ever tried going a little higher on it? Like just have you messed around with that and you found that 80 proof is just the most well-rounded? It's
definitely the most well-rounded. I wanted it to be a versatile product. I wanted people to be able, enjoy it by itself first and foremost. But, I also wanted people to be able to mix with it, and higher proof stuff is great by itself, and I feel like it's attracted people wanting to just sip on it. But mixing it might stand out too much, or bring out some of the other stuff that isn't necessarily desirable in a mixed drink. But
Well, I definitely appreciate that because there's some things like, especially being in Tennessee, there's a lot of quote unquote moonshine.
Sure.
And you look at it and it's all 20 to 30%.
Right.
And you look at it and you're like, listen.
How is that moonshine?
It's not moon. Like the moonshine I know is going to put hair on your chest.
Yeah, it's not moonshine unless your vision blurs after the first.
Right.
You know,
and you can kind of put it on a wound after you get cut.
Yeah. Unless you can run your car off of it, it's not moonshine.
But it really, I appreciate having it's not typical, I think, for a lot of people to go run to infused drinks, especially the people that are going to be listening to this show.
Sure.
And that's why it's a pleasant surprise to me. I'd be lying if I didn't say that you have an 80 proof infused drink. I mean, we just had one of the toughest guys on from Leatherwood Spirits up in Pleasant View.
Yeah.
Green Beret, makes his own whiskey.
Yeah.
The whiskey is all over 80, and then he has the moonshine. And he's like, I kicked it up a little bit. It's at 30, opposed to what some of those other moonshines are. But this is something that I think also. Did you think about efficiency at all, being behind the bar and being a bartender? Because I've been a bartender too.
Yeah.
If you have something that's 80 proof, you don't have to run to put something else in the drink too that you're making.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd like to think that this saves a lot of bartenders a couple steps, if more than one step for sure. When I was infusing all the stuff into the rye whiskey, it would proof down quite a bit. You'd be surprised when you actually measure the stuff. Just infusing real ingredients into something, how much the proof goes down. So we've kind of like upped the ante a little bit and made like a full 80 proof product that's already infused and already has some real ingredients in it. So it's something that's done with integrity and something that's done that can save a bartender stuff for sure. It's something that could be useful, definitely. And efficiency was huge with me when I was running bar programs and being busy behind the bar. And when you get too deep, you don't want to, you don't want to do more than 3 or 4 steps for sure. So.
And on a busy night, you really just hope everybody wants like a Makers and Sprite or a Makers and Ginger.
Yeah.
And
gin and tonic.
As much as you don't like those vodka sodas and whatever, they're pretty attractive when it comes to, speed and efficiency for sure.
I was, there were some places, I bartended at a restaurant, but I also bartended at a pure bar. And the restaurant one's so easy. It's like somebody wants a draft beer and you're like, oh, okay, that's good.
Let's
and then you're at the bar and you're cranking out those like Jack and Cokes, and then somebody's like, I want a Manhattan. And you're like, do you see the line here? Like, you don't really want a Manhattan.
Yeah.
Did you come to the right place?
Right.
But
or they want tastes of the craft beers or something. You're like, come on, man. Like, let's just,
it's Saturday night. We're 5 deep. Like, just kind of pick one.
Yeah.
You know what you want.
For sure.
What have you thought about doing besides, have you thought about doing anything other than coffee? Like, where does this go moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to do stuff other than coffee, and we've got some stuff in the works for sure, other flavor-wise, and hoping to have that out, honestly, in the next, few months for sure. We want to launch it, later this year, if not Q1 of next year. So
does this still stay as Red Eye Rye at that point, or is it...
We're not sure. Red Eye Rye, I think, is a great standalone product, and Red Eye naturally kind of lends itself to coffee, but we're not sure. That's all the stuff we're kind of trying to work out right now to see if that's going to be another brand or if it's under Red Eye Rye or what it is. So,
but it all comes under the parent company that is not necessarily Red Eye Rye. Mm-hmm. I know it's on the bottle. I don't have it right now.
Four Blue Palms right now is the parent company for everything, but that'll probably change. And as we grow as a brand, some things will change minorly and whatnot. So,
is there a good story behind the name
of Red Eye Rye
or Four Blue Palms?
That predates me, so I'm not sure, honestly. Yeah,
man, that's something to find out.
That
is something good to find out
for sure.
That sounds like a good name of a horse, too.
Four Blue Palms, it does, man. That's like
it's going to be the next Triple Crown winner right there.
I hope so, yeah.
So this is coming out at $30, right?
Yeah, give or take. I think that's kind of the average price point. Yeah,
which is really fair. I mean, the fact that you are using a craft whiskey, a lot of times those crafts come out a little bit higher. Keeping your price point down with a craft like that, and obviously the extra process that goes in for infusing, that's pretty impressive that you're actually putting it out at $30. What's your distribution right now? Where could be? I mean, we know people can get you in Nashville.
Yeah.
Where else can the folks get you?
Most of Tennessee, all of Tennessee, really. Memphis, Knoxville, Nashville, Chattanooga, Georgia, Kentucky. Those are the 3 states we're in right now. But most of your local liquor stores should have it. If not, definitely ask for it. So.
Can they get you online anywhere?
Unfortunately, not right now. We don't have online distribution as of yet, but that's something we're looking into for sure. We want to get that problem solved.
So, what do you typically drink when you're going out?
Yeah.
I know you did this as a bartender, but sure. What's your inspiration? What are you typically reaching for? Now we know it's Red Eye Rye, but before that, what was it?
Honestly, it was a lot of Amaro Fernet. It was something I'd drink, definitely just kind of sip it. It was something that was higher proof. It was, satisfying to sip on, but, it wasn't going to get you, super wasted after just 1 or 2 of them. Had a unique flavor to it. It was kind of refreshing. So that was kind of my go-to. I've always liked tequila, mezcal, that kind of thing, rum. Those were definitely all my go-tos for sure.
So not really a whiskey guy.
I love whiskey. I've always loved whiskey. Rye whiskey is definitely my thing. I'm not a huge bourbon guy. I never have been super into bourbon. Like the sweetness from the corn gets me a little bit. I've always, if I find this whiskey that I love, it's always been a rye,
So what ryes do you typically gravitate toward?
Willet is probably hands down my favorite. Anything that they release, I go towards for sure.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, no kidding. That's not like a new thing for sure. Definitely not unique. Let's see. Overholt is kind of like a staple. It's easy to find. It's cheap.
Rittenhouse is pretty good too for Sazerac. Even Sazerac makes
Rittenhouse
good.
And Sazerac
baby Sazerac is just a great everyday little sipper.
Definitely.
I'm a huge Pikesville guy.
That's good too.
And then the Michter's Barrel Strength Rye.
Right. Yeah.
Not the toasted barrel one, but the regular barrel strength rye is so good.
But those are not easy to come by, right?
No, not here. Here. Pikesville you can get here pretty regularly. Pikesville.
And it's a pretty decent price, right?
It's pretty decent. It's about $50, but it's 110 proof for your rye. The Knob Creek has been coming out with really great
Knob Creek is awesome.
This year. Carruthers had a great pick of that. So did
I haven't had Carruthers.
So did Turok at Elixir Spirits. Zeke was in on that pick. Beast from the East. That was a great pick.
Right.
There's been some really, really good Knob Creek ryes this year. I didn't really gravitate towards the cast strength one they put out because you can get cast strength in the pick.
What was the proof of that?
I think it was 110.
Because I haven't had any of the barrel picks or anything like that, but Knob Creek is definitely a good solid rye for sure.
Barrel picks were great.
Yeah,
I think we say all that knowing that what made you decide to pick OZ Tyler at the end of the day, knowing all those ryes were out there.
Yeah, I mean they had the best liquid that we could get our hands on. That I was, I wanted to start with a great product that I would drink by itself. They had a great product that I felt good about drinking just by itself. It was still young, but it was something that was good. It was something that I would put in a glass over ice and just drink it by itself. And I felt like if you started with great ingredients, you're going to end up with a decent product. And, we tried a lot of different stuff from a lot of different places and in a variety of different ages as well. And OZ Tyler came up with what I felt the most comfortable with for sure.
One thing I will say about this stuff is at $30 a bottle, it's pretty impressive because you can go to one of these fancy coffee shops for breakfast, get a couple, get a cortado and a pour over, and you're at $30 right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can taste the quality of the coffee in this for sure. And what's cool is whether it has a lot of caffeine in it or not, you said it doesn't have a lot, but you feel like you're drinking coffee. Like,
sure.
I've had a glass of this now, and I actually feel more awake.
Yeah.
Not
you're
that
on it.
Yeah, it's just like it has something to do, I think, with your brain thinks you're taking in. You get that coffee flavor, and it wakes you up. I mean,
it's either the alcohol or the caffeine. I don't know which it is.
Well,
I feel like either
alcohol
one
usually does the reverse for me, but this is livened me up a little bit.
Yeah.
After that big meal I had an hour ago, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm about to pour another.
But you said the amount of alcohol in here at the end of the day, or the amount of coffee, sorry.
Right.
You said the amount of coffee in here at the end of the day is probably equivalent to 1 cup of 12-ounce coffee for the whole bottle.
Yeah, the whole bottle's about a 12-ounce cup of coffee's worth of caffeine. Yeah. So it's when you break it down to the drink, it's negligible because we use real ingredients, real coffee beans, etc. We can't say it's decaf, but by the drink, 2-ounce pour is negligible.
But that's
amount of
with
caffeine,
the actual liquid coffee, right? But didn't you say some of it sits on whole beans itself as well?
Yeah, there's actual beans rested.
So
in
that's kind of hard to
to
measure, right?
Yeah, it could be. I don't know the exact process of measuring the caffeine, but
It's all something we can do on another episode.
Yeah.
It's just really good. I enjoy it. It's perfect for like after a meal. It's perfect for cocktails. It's just a real versatile alcohol. It's just a real, you can do so many things with this. Like I said earlier, like a Negroni would be great with this.
That might be my favorite, honestly. The favorite application is Boulevardier or Negroni with it.
Yeah, and you can even get crazier than that, like even do like those espresso martinis possibly. I mean, all that comes into play.
Like as a bartender, like my pet, it wasn't a pet peeve, but you always cringed when a group of people just wanted like a whole round of espresso martinis or something, and it's just like kind of the easy vodka drink. And I'm not a hater of vodka by any means. It serves its purpose, but you can give them something a little bit more interesting with whiskey by using the product. It's something that you can give them whiskey where you make an espresso martini with Red Eye Rye, and they're not even going to realize that, you could have a bunch of vodka drinkers drinking this stuff, and they'd be like, oh, this is great. And
they won't know you didn't add Van Gogh espresso.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Well, in Nashville, nobody cares if you're doing that. They want to know you're using a local place in Nashville for your espresso.
People love local stuff here, which is great. It's fantastic. And it's just,
it's kind of the thing. It's like Nashville wouldn't know about Van Gogh espresso. They'd be like, "Did you use 8th and Roast? Like,
right, sure.
Did you use Humphreys Street, or did you go down to Frothy Monkey? Like that's what they want to know." But
they love local stuff, and I mean, even the people that come here, they go to the hotel bars, and they go to the bars and restaurants in 12 South, wherever it is, and they don't even care what it is. They just walk in and ask what's local. What do you guys drink? So,
I want to know what local Nashville people do. And then actually we say like 10% of the people here grew up here. So
yeah, I was born and raised here. So yeah.
You're a unicorn.
I'm a unicorn. Yeah. Born and raised.
Congratulations. Speaking about the versatility that Michael brought up, we have 2 cocktails that you've made for us here. And this is a good way to move forward. The first is a Red Eye Old Fashioned, and all this is Red Eye Rye over ice with some bitters.
That's it. Yeah. Super simple.
So good. And then going to the versatility, I mean, people are going to listen to this think I'm just kind of kissing your butt because you're here, but it's not. And this drink, I really like the coffee note to it in the Old Fashioned. And then I love what you also did, and I don't know what you call it, but you took the Old Fashioned and added some tonic on top of it.
Yeah.
And you really get, is it ginger tonic or?
No, it's 1821 tonic. Their tonic's a little bit different than the other stuff out there. It's not like super quinine heavy. It's bitter, but it's got some like cinnamon and
that's what it is. I really taste the cinnamon
for
on
sure.
top of there.
Yeah.
And you said they're out of Atlanta, right?
Out of Atlanta, yeah. I'm not sure how long they've been around, but I know that they're fairly new to Nashville. So 1821 tonic's great with Red Eye. Tonic in general is just good with it. Bitter stuff is fantastic. When you add the tonic, it's almost like a little coffee soda. And then, just the old fashioned. It's got a little bit of cane sugar in there already with a sweetness. So all you have to do is really add bitters. Put a orange peel in there, and you're good to go with an old fashioned.
You said it's 100% cane sugar that you put in there. Right?
It is cane sugar, yeah.
That's awesome. Michael, what about you? What do you think? You obviously drank your cocktails.
Yeah, I'm a pretty honest person. You know that. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't say I liked it. I actually really enjoy it. No joke.
We're sitting here with almost empty glasses, so
it's funny bad. Because you could go to a restaurant and order a drink with 12 ingredients, and if they handed you this, you wouldn't challenge it at all. It's this kind of has everything already built into it, so you don't really have to do much to it.
Sure. Did you have the one with the tonic?
No.
Here, try this. It is. The funny thing is, I probably wouldn't drink. I probably wouldn't drink this kind of stuff all night. As Michael knows from going out with me, I very much go for the neat whiskey.
Sure, definitely.
He's like, "What are you getting out?" I'm like, "Neat whiskey," but.
At the end of the night, you might come home and...
No, it's not even that. It's after dinner. I'd really enjoy having one of these after a nice meal. And it's one of these things, I'm really big into deck pours. Mm-hmm. I like something to sit out on the deck for a few minutes and just relax. I have a 2.5-year-old at home that runs around. And when you
need something stiff.
Well, not even stiff. It just has to be enjoyable. Has to be refreshing, has to be enjoyable. I'm a big, I think, and not to get on my soapbox, but I don't think we're at the point now. We have this whiskey boom and we have the bourbon boom. And I think bourbon has so much further to go, almost like wine, where you start to see people have applications for it.
Sure.
So when you think about wine, it's this wine pairs with this wine there's a wine that pairs with pasta. There's a wine that pairs with seafood, and those dishes within there, you're going to have variations of red, white, or rosé, all those things that complement the food. I think we don't talk about whiskey complementing certain activities better. Yeah. So this is something for me that would either start the night, end the night, or just something on a nice hot day. You look at this, it's dark. You would think it would be heavier than it is, but you put it over that old fashioned or with that tonic.
The tonic breaks it.
Super refreshing.
Yeah, the tonic definitely breaks it to a really drinkable, crushable drink.
Yeah.
You could be mowing the lawn drinking this.
And I think it's that fruit component in there too that I kind of got on the taste, and you throw the tonic in there with that, and the fact that the 1821 is a little bit of a unique tonic that brings out those cinnamon notes. There's so much complexity going into what is a really simple drink. I find that fascinating.
Glad you enjoy it.
I'm glad I talked too much. Michael, anything else you got?
No. If you want to bring up another subject, I think we covered most of it. It's awesome. I got nothing bad to say about this stuff. I'm definitely going to buy a bottle for sure.
Well, Robert, where else can the folks find you? We know we can find you in Middle Tennessee. You told us where we can find you around the country and the states that are popping up. Hopefully, it ends up being in 50 states sometime.
Yeah, definitely. That's the goal.
You said you just got into another state today.
Yeah, right? Texas. We're coming hopefully in the next 30 days or so. We just got approved, and
it's a big state.
Yeah, definitely. So Texas will be there soon, and right now it's Georgia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. So
will help to keep Austin weird.
Definitely. And, I don't feel like it needs much help. But,
it's redeyerye.com.
DrinkRedEyeRye.com.
DrinkRedEyeRye.com. And then what's your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
At Drink Red Eye Rye on Instagram, and Drink Red Eye Rye on Facebook as well. So
Hashtag Red Eye Rye.
yeah,
And you're going to have to let us know because you guys do actually have some sweet merch. And there is a
Definitely.
Red Eye Rye t-shirt that looks like Run DMC that I really want.
it is super limited edition, and those things went like hotcakes, man. It's like I've got like maybe a girl's extra small right now.
Which
That
So
won't
your
work.
kids
That
are gonna be
won't
running
work for
around
either of
with them.
us.
that might fit my pinky.
Yeah.
So, Robert, thank you so much for coming. Please
Thank
stay
you.
in touch. Come back again. If people want to know where to find us, actually, Robert, please stay in touch. Come back again.
Absolutely.
Michael, where can the folks find you if they want to follow you? Are you on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram. I mean, if you want to see pictures of whiskey and dogs and food, then go right ahead and follow me.
That's kind of what
That's
our
basically
friends
what I do.
do.
I eat a lot. I obsess
Nothing
with
wrong
my
with that,
little
man.
critter, and I
So what's your name on there? Let's give you
Mike
some-
Dog 14, MikeDog 14.
So it's kind of like everything about you. It's
Right.
You know, your name's Mike. You have a dog, and you get 14,
And I look 14.
No, and you have 14 different types of hot chicken delivered in a day.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, Michael, thank you for riding out the hurricane with us in Nashville.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. This was awesome. So I know I don't take Zeke's place, but this was fun.
Well, you'll have to do it again with Zeke.
Yeah,
It'll be
for
fun.
sure.
If people want to know where to find us, go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Also, join our Dad's Drinking Bourbon Facebook group. We actually went live on this podcast tonight, so it was broadcasted in our group at the same time. You can find us on Twitter at Bourbon Dads. Find us on Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. You can find our podcast on Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, Podknife, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider. Please leave us a 5-star review. Tell us why you like us. If you don't like us, reach out to us personally. We're good people. We'll talk to you about it and try to get better before you actually put something up there. Anything you guys want to say before we end?
Nope. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Good times.
Cheers.